Everybody's had a colicky baby.
Yeah.
I had a colicky baby.
How old?
4 months.
Charming. Seems good. Well, for those of you that don't know, colic is, they actually call it the rule of threes. So if you have a colicky baby, it will most commonly start after they're 3 weeks old. It usually ends by the time they're about 3 months old. And it's when they have at least 3 episodes during the week of crying for like 2 to 3 hours at a time. And crying so that they're inconsolable, like there's really nothing you can do to calm them down. There has actually been a lot of research on chiropractic and colic, and it's been shown in many, many studies to be more effective than any medical treatment that there is. Now, I don't really know if medicine now, traditional medicine, will recommend medication at all for colicky babies. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Reflex medicine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I don't really know what the other finally, I'm taking vigorous action for really working together to make
I know. When I have moms come in, they're like completely exhausted. They don't know what to do.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I wish I had known that they were from now she's a lot better, but, yeah, I don't really like
They don't. And their first thing is, first of all, colic isn't the same thing as gastric reflux. And gastric reflux, as far as I'm concerned, is like the new EDD. It's like every child that spits up has gastric reflux. They all go across the street to Dr. Glassman. Every single baby is on
They're all on
drugs. They're
drugs.
either on Prevacid, they're on Zantac. I mean, it's insane. Again, when you go to a chiropractor, chiropractors try to address where the cause of the problem is coming from. And every organ in your body is controlled by your nervous system. So typically in colicky babies, we might find little misalignments either in their neck, because their neck is highly associated with the diaphragm and the digestive system, or the mid to upper part of their mid-back, which is their thoracic spine. So if you can do anything to take the stress off of that area, to get the nervous system to relax more, and get the babies more comfortable, typically the symptoms are going to go away. Just see it. C-section, it's like the easy way to go. But, you know, nature does what it does for a reason. And when you have to have a C-section, you know, there's nothing you can do. But when people are electing to have C-sections, which isn't that uncommon these days, they don't realize not only is it not good for them, but it, you know, the baby goes through the birth canal, and the way those bones in the skull fold over one another and they're compressed, it stimulates the respiratory system. So there's so much benefit to getting the respiratory system and the nervous system going the right way from a vaginal delivery.
I have a question too about colicky babies. Like I've also heard like sometimes it can be from not breastfeeding correctly, and you also address that too.
The other thing that Lynn just mentioned, which I was going to touch on, is when you have a colicky baby, to address whether or not you're breastfeeding, and if you are breastfeeding, there are things and foods that you should consider really not eating because they're more gassy types of foods. Things that are pretty common are garlic, tomatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, cucumbers. Dairy is often associated with colic. My husband, we practice together. He's a chiropractor also, but he does something called Bioset, which is a natural way to diagnose and then permanently eliminate allergies, whether it's food allergies, environmental allergies, chemical allergies. And I'll just tell you a quick story as to how he got into that. When I was nursing my youngest daughter, who was about 15 months at the time, I found out when I ate strawberries or chocolate, she started getting eczema. And the pediatricians, of course, and we go to a very holistically minded pediatrician. Her first thing was, well, you're going to have to start steroid cream, which we were adamant there's no way we're doing that. So, of course, I tried as much as I possibly could to avoid strawberries and chocolate. But occasionally there would be something in something I ate which I didn't realize, and then I'd say, oh, I must have had a little piece of chocolate somewhere. He got into Bioset because we needed to find a natural way to get rid of the eczema. And eczema, for those of you who don't know, is primarily food allergies. So he probably has some pretty significant chronic underlying food allergies. It's all atopic disorders, so it's eczema, allergies, and asthma are food allergies primarily. So my husband learned about Bioset, and in 5 treatments, she was completely clear of eczema. She's 10 and a half now, has never had another spot of eczema on her body, and she eats a ton of strawberries and probably too much chocolate than she should be eating, but she's never had more eczema at all.
What's that,
Bioset?
Hard to describe what it is.
It's energy.
She has all those problems too, and I
Oh, really?
She still has like the cryo cap.
Okay.
And that's what they said, eczema.
Yeah. Bioset is, as Lynn said, it's hard to describe. It's energy medicine, if you will. And I know that kind of sounds voodoo-y, and he doesn't go to work in a tie-dye shirt with like crystals hanging from his neck, but
Although maybe he'd like to.
Yes, and probably
Maybe.
his patients would think that's what he should wear, but he wears a suit and a tie. He uses a computerized program called electrodermal screening. And it's a little probe, it's not a needle, it's not invasive at all. And he uses it to evaluate diagnostic points, which are acupuncture points. And by using the diagnostic probe and his computer, he can evaluate what system in the body isn't really functioning at 100%. So it might be the liver has a blockage, or maybe the lymph node, or some system in the body probably isn't working as optimally as possible, so it's not allowing the body to process foods as well as it should. And by diagnosing that and then determining what it is that you're allergic or sensitive to, you can desensitize the body in a ridiculously simple way so that you can get rid of the allergy and you then can eat the foods that you want to eat. If anybody's interested, I'm glad you kind of brought this up because he's doing a lecture at our office next week on the 16th, which is probably, it's Tuesday the 16th. Today is
Tuesday, yep.
I think it's at 7 o'clock, so...
At night.
Yeah, 7 o'clock at night. If anybody wants to give me their email addresses, I can email them information on that.
Why don't you email me and I'll put it on our message board.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah.
There's also another group that I run in Fairfield County. It's called the Holistic Moms Network. We meet tomorrow night. It's always the second Wednesday of the month at 7:30. And it's a group of moms and parents that get together, and we usually have a lecturer that comes. So tomorrow night happens to be a lactation consultant for anybody
Lorna.
that's interested. Lorna Alperti. I don't know if you've
That's
known her.
certainly not who visited you. Right.
What'd you say?